Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Let me first introduce myself. I am Zorfi Bardaninufus. Currently, I am studying at IPMI International Business School. I am an MBA student, and in this video, I will tell you about what I learned in corporate finance courses that was taught by Professor Roy Sembel. So here goes the mind mapping and the summary of my journey in finance corporate finance course. So in this video, I will start. I will tell you about all the things in summary about what I learned in corporate finance. First, we will start with unlocking value in financial management. Financial management is about creating value. So the highlight in this section is the value through metrics like return on invested capital, cash flow, and profit margin. Understanding these key elements is essential for maximizing profitability and sustainable growth in business. So in this course, I learned about how I read the metrics in financial terms in order to better understand about the corporate. In this value creation, I learned about the four cornerstone of from McKinsey. There are the core value of principle, conservation of value principle, and then best owner principle and expectations treadmill principle. Value creation in financial management is achieved through optimizing return on expected capital, cash flow management, and maintaining a healthy profit margin. These metrics are crucial for evaluating the performance and efficiency of a company's financial activities. So the four cornerstones can also be used in order to further understand about how our company can create some values. And then the next one is I also learned about the principal agent problem, which is the most common, which is rather common in corporation. The principal agent problem addresses conflicts of interest, one of them, and then the second is asymmetric information and moral hazard within organizations. Resolving these challenges requires an integrated solutions that align the interests of principals and agents to ensure ethical and effective decision making. So in this case, the principal is the shareholder, absolutely, and the agent is the management. So there might be some conflicts between them. And in this course, I learned about how we can overcome the challenges in principal agent problem. How can I overcome the challenges of principal agent problem? One of them is the good corporate governance, which are based on tariff. So corporate governance should be tariff. They should be transparency. They should be transparent. There should be a clear assignment of accountability and responsibility, and then should be independent and should be fair. These principles are fundamental for maintaining trust, ethical conduct, and long-term sustainability in organizations, ensuring sound management practices and stakeholder confidence. The next one is I also learned about the 5 business essentials in order to create the value in corporations from by Ram Charan. So Ram Charan is a writer, book writer, consultant, businessman, and everything. He's a very good great man. He said that the 5 business essentials is cash, profit margin, velocity, growth, and customer focus. Maybe the difference with the four cornerstone of I can see is the customer focus in area, because whatever we do, we should always focus on the customer. They are critical components for achieving success and sustained growth in business operations. Understanding and analyzing these essentials are key to driving performance and competitive advantages. And then the next chapter, or the next big thing, the main topics in this corporate finance course is understanding capital budgeting metrics. Capital budgeting involves evaluating long-term investments proposals using financial metrics such as NPV, PI, IRR, I will explain it later, and considering the time value of money. First, the net present value, or NPV, measures the profitability of an investment by calculating the present value of expected cash inflows and outflows, helping in decision-making regarding project feasibility. We learn about the formula of NPV is PV personal present value cash inflow minus initial outlay. Initial outlay is the beginning or initial cash that the company has. And then the next one is PI or profitability index, also known as the profit investment ratio, assesses the relationship between the costs and benefits of a project, indicating the profitability of investments relative to their costs. PI can be formulated with present value of cash inflows divided by initial outlay. So if we talk about the NPV, it is the PV cash inflow minus IO. And for this profitability index is PV cash inflow divided by IO. And then the next one is the internal rate of return, or IRR. It calculates the expected rate of return that makes the net present value of cash flows from an investment equal to zero, assisting in evaluating the attractiveness of projects based on returns. And then the next one is the time value of money. The concept of time value of money recognizes that $1 today is worth more than $1 in the future, highlighting the importance of discounting cash flows and considering interest rates in investment decisions. I also learned this. And then how I can integrate capital budgeting metrics is by utilizing NPV, PI, and IRR, and the understanding of time value of money. Businesses can make informed decisions of investment projects, ensuring efficient allocation of resources leading to long-term growth and profitability. And then the next main topics is the securities analysis, fundamental analysis versus technical. So in this course, I learned that the two key approaches in security analysis is fundamental and technical analysis provide valuable insights for making informed investment decisions. The first one is the fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis involves evaluating financial statements, market trends, and overall health of a company. It includes examining key factors like industry analysis, company historical performance, and financial statement analysis. We can see the picture on the right. It is the macroeconomy. First, we should analyze the macroeconomy, and then we thin out our analysis into the sector, which is if we are in the industry of our company, and then we go down again to companies. So the fundamental analysis is about how we learn about the condition from macroeconomy, the industry, and also the company. And then the next one is the technical analysis. Technical analysis focuses on price trends and trading volumes to predict future market movements. It includes analyzing patterns like momentum, trends, support levels, and specific chart formations. And then the next big thing is about the corporate restructuring strategies. Effective strategies for navigating financial distress, survival, and business transformation through corporate restructuring. The first one is learning about the financial distress. In times of financial distress, companies can implement operation, asset, and financial restructuring to improve their financial situation and avoid bankruptcy. We can see at the graph on the right, there are some financial state that can be solved, and then that can be solved more easily, and then distressed but still can be solved and can be solved or insolvent. Those the items in the graphics can show that bankruptcy is the insolvent one, and then the easier one is the early impairment and deterioration of performance, and cash flow problem, failure, default, insolvency. Although it's a distress, but it's also solvable. And then how can we survive? How to survive and transforming the business. To survive and transform the business, companies must focus on stopping financial losses, or we can say stop the bleeding, and then strategically pivoting, realigning with their core business. Is their core business still relevant or not? And then adopting a new business practices if needed. The next one is the strategic structuring. Restructuring involves reshaping the capital structure, managing working capital efficiently, optimizing revenue streams, and balancing growth opportunities with risk management. And then we should also optimizing growth and risk in transforming and surviving the business. The effective restructuring strategies aim to optimize growth opportunities while mitigating risks, ensuring long-term sustainability and profitability. So we must seek the opportunity. We should see the opportunity on growth, and we also know the risk, and we should optimize it. And then enhancing financial health. By focusing on restructuring initiatives, company can enhance their financial health, improve cash flow, and create a solid foundation for future growth and stability. And then driving, if all that has laid out, we should drive the organizational change. Successful corporate restructuring drives organizational change, fosters innovation, and enhances competitiveness in dynamic market environments. And then we also need to adapt to market challenge. We know that market is always changing. So adapting to market challenges through strategic restructuring enables companies to navigate uncertainties, seize opportunities, and emerge stronger in the competitive landscape. And then we also should aim for the sustainable growth strategies. Implementing sustainable growth strategies through effective restructuring practices ensures long-term success, resilience, and adaptability in an evolving business environment. And then if there are opportunity, we should also seek out innovative business solutions. Innovative business solutions stemming from corporate restructuring, promote agility, innovation, and efficiency, driving sustained business performance and value creation. And then we also embrace change for success. We change, we drive it, and we should embrace it as a whole organization. Embracing change as a constant in the corporate landscape promotes adaptability, resilience, and agility for sustained success and growth through restructuring. And then the next main topic is the understanding the fraud risk management. I learned about the fraud hexagon, which is divided by the people, the character of people, and also the external factor. The external factor is the opportunity and slightly competence. So and then from the character, it's also need, justification, character, and arrogance, which are the six things that can make fraud happens. Fraud risk management is essential in corporate finance to mitigate risks and protect the integrity of financial practices. The whistleblowing system, fraud triangle, and distinguishing between unethical and illegal actions are key aspects of managing fraud risk effectively. The whistleblowing system provides an avenue for employees to report unethical or illegal practices within an organization, ensuring transparency and accountability. There are 4 types of incentives that can leverage whistleblowing system further. One is physical, second is monetary, the third one is social, and the fourth one is moral. And then we also should distinguish unethical versus illegal action. It is crucial to delineate between unethical behavior, which goes against moral principles, and illegal actions, which violate laws. Understanding this distinction is key in identifying and addressing misconduct in corporate finance. And then those are the main topics, but we also explore some special topics in this course, uncovering the intersection of finance and entertainment, analyzing the role of morality in financial frauds through movie reviews. The first one is movie reviews. In this movie, I got Wall Street Money Never Sleeps for me to review. These movies really emphasize in moral hazard of the management and also shareholders. So with these movies, I also learned in a fun way, thanks to Prof. Roy and IPMI International Business School. And then became a very good learning opportunity for me in order to know what are the moral that I should go with if I manage to be the management of a company. And then the last one is the weekly investment portfolio update. We simulate simulation about 1 billion IDR. We invest in some stocks, and then we analyze the result and give recommendation at the end of the class about whether we should buy, sell, or hold. So all in all, those are the things that I learned in corporate finance business, business international schools. So thank you for your attention, and that's all for my videos. Good luck everyone, and keep your happy face. Thank you.